Hey guys, my name is Jesse, and today we're going to be changing these resistive heating elements in the hot water heater. I got these on Rheem website. They were like $8 each. They're 2500 watt resistive heating elements for the hot water heater. And the reason why I'm changing mine out, the hot water heater works fine. It's just the heating elements that are in there right now pull about 5,000 watts every time it kicks on and decides to heat water. And if I'm running the dryer, the pool pump, it's charging the Tesla, that surge of 5,000 watts sometimes gets me really close to the 12,000 watts of continuous output from the inverter. So the goal is to try these out, see if these kind of lower the surge every time the hot water heater kicks on, because these are only going to draw, they should only draw about 2,500 watts instead of 5,000 watts. And so this is just like a temporary fix. Later on down the road, I'm probably going to try and change the hot water heater to a heat pump water heater. And that's mainly because they're way more energy efficient and they don't have such a large surge in demand of electricity every time the hot water heater kicks on. It's more of a steady demand that they require like 1,000, 1,500 watts for just a longer period of time. And that's much better for any type of inverter. Your inverters are much better, or they're a lot happier when you can give them a continuous demand for long periods of time, as opposed to these huge surges for 5 or 10 minutes. And so this is just a kind of temporary fix. Later on down the road, we'll replace the hot water heater with a more energy efficient heat pump hot water heater. And the other reason I want to replace that heat pump water heater is that my inverter's in this like utility room, laundry room, and it kind of gets hot in here. And the heat pump hot water heaters, one of the byproducts of them making heat is cold air. And so that'd be great for this room, because this room gets kind of warm with the dryer, and it's right next to the garage. The garage is super hot. So it would kind of serve two purposes. It would help with the hot water heater kind of demand, and then it would help cool this area down, which this area gets kind of hot when it's during the summertime and when the dryer's running. But anyways, I'll kind of show you what I've got started so far. All right, this is everything I've kind of been using so far. Just the voltmeter, just to make sure we got no power at the hot water heater. I just turned off the breaker. Just use that to double check. These, I mentioned I got these on the Rheem website. I think they were like $7 or $8 a piece. This is a special type of wrench for these resistive heating elements. You slide it in here and it locks into place there. And then you put a screwdriver in here and you twist this to kind of put it on and off. And then I got this wrench at Lowe's. I think it was also like $7 or $8. It's the hot water heater. You have one heating element on the top. You got another one on the bottom. The bottom is the kind of valve that kind of lets the water heater drain. And mine, I opened it and not much water was coming out, but that's because there's a bunch of calcium and corrosion in there. So I just kind of had to mess with it and shove a little screwdriver in there to kind of break up the calcium, but it's still, it's coming out, but it's not, coming out full speed. But I think that's just the calcium that's built up in there. And these are the plates. So each one of these resistive heating elements has a little bit of insulation, this plastic cover, and then it has one of these plates that go over it. And I'm just draining that hose out into the front yard. I think it's been going for about 30 minutes, and I could still hear the water trickling out. Let's go actually check here. Yeah, it's been dripping for like 20 minutes. Looks like we still got some water coming out. All right. Let's see if we can get this thing out. Hopefully it doesn't give us any problems. It doesn't fit quite as snug as you would think, but we'll see if it works. It's on there tight. Oh man. this thing is so calcium built up. No wonder it was using so much electricity. Jesus Christ. There's so much calcium built up. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is just packed. See if you can see it. This stuff is just caked on. They're just like little calcium rocks. So this was the old one, and you just want to make sure that when you take out the old one, the gasket comes out with it. Sometimes the gaskets get stuck in there, and then you go and put on your new one, and then it's two gaskets, and then it leaks. And just make sure your old one comes out. Maybe I need to get a water softener. Alright, so apparently the gasket does all the work on these. You don't really need to like tighten them super tight. Just let the gasket do the work. Need some needle nose pliers. Alright, top one looks like it's done. Let's see if we can do the bottom one now. Alright, let's take these wires off. there might be water that comes out of here, so we'll probably have to do this swap real fast. Oh, yeah. That's on there tight. All right, I'm gonna try and be quick. A little bit of water came out. This one's actually not too bad. I think the top one turns on a lot more than the bottom one. I think the bottom one probably only turns on if you drain the complete tank. Then the bottom one will kind of help out and kick on. Just do a little snug. All right, let's see if we can put this back on. Where's my screwdriver? Everything's tightened up. All right, I've turned the water back on from that valve, and I really don't see any leaks here. I've heard the tank fill up, and before I turned that valve on, I opened the water lines. Yeah, there's a bunch of air that came out in the beginning, but looks like it's just water now. All right, I turned on the water heater, and it works. I think I had a baseline load with the pool pump and air conditioner on. I was pulling about, I think, 3,800 watts. And if I'm pulling almost 4,000 watts and the hot water kicks on, it'll be close to 9,000 watts. But now with these heating elements, I was pulling 3,800 watts and I think it got up to 5,900. So yeah, they work. Might take a little longer to heat the water, but that's fine. So just putting everything back together, and then I'll try and get a shot of the inverter just so you guys can see the draw. I got you guys zoomed in on the inverter, and let's try and focus in on this number right here. So our baseline load is about 2,500 watts, and that's because I got the pool pump going and the air conditioner, just some lights. But I'm gonna turn on the hot water heater at the breaker, and we should see 5,000 watts about. Alright, I just turned on the breaker. Sure enough, we got 5,000 watts, 4,900 watts, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So looks like it works pretty well. Pretty quick install. See, we're only making 900 watts of solar. That's not good. It's super cloudy. It's supposed to rain for the next 2 days, so not much I can do there. But I will catch you guys on the next one. I think that's going to wrap up this video here.